All right, hello once again, Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College. And as part of the Rankin Technical College AWD 1000 Web Development Technologies class, I've been going through a series of video presentations I'm creating based off of the Mozilla Developer Network, or MDN, series on learning web development. All right, I'm in the Structuring the Web with HTML, Introduction to HTML. And as you notice in here, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 sections. And I'm up to the debugging HTML, so that's what we're going to go through right now. And I'm not going to go through the marking up a letter, but later I'm going to go through the structuring a page of content, and I'll talk to you about that in just a minute. So it says writing HTML is fine, but when something goes wrong and you can't work out an error, how do you fix it? Well, the first thing is to talk about debugging. Now, I'm going to tell you this, and I don't know if what I'm about to tell you is a tall tale that really did not happen or a tale that really did happen. But I've read this in several places that years ago, back in the days when a computer was the size of a big classroom, right now, just one computer, and it was slow as heck, and it was filled with vacuum tubes and the like. There was a woman who was a rear admiral in the Navy named Grace Hopper. She was about 4.5 feet tall. From what I've always read, small and feisty. And she was working on a computer program, and the program wasn't working. This was back in the day when you used machine language, the language of zeros and ones, that the computer basically breaks everything down to. Well, Ms. Hopper was having problems with the program and couldn't get it to work. Looked at it and said, "There's no problems in the program. I don't know what the problem is." So she figured that maybe one of the vacuum tubes had gone out on the computer or something else. So she checked and checked and couldn't find anything wrong. So she took the back off of the computer, and again, this is supposedly, in the back of the computer was a smashed up dead moth. The moth was the bug, the first computer bug of all time. So ever since then, errors that result in your code are known as bugs, and the process of eliminating those errors is known as debugging. All right? Okay. So, as it says, HTML is not a super complicated language, but any kind of language, there's really three different types of errors that you can get, two of which are shown here. The first are syntax errors. All right? And that's an error in the language. So if I were to come through here, and you've seen this kind of thing before, but let's just take a quick little example here. And that is, I'm going to come up here where it says time. See that? And I'm going to write times instead of time. I'm purposely putting an error in here. Again, I purposely put an error into my code. Now I'm going to go back in here. And I'm going to go to the HTML validator. And I'm going to come in here and copy in my code and check it. And no, it isn't all green. Notice I've got an error. Times is not allowed as a child element of the body. So it's letting me know I put something in here that the system did not understand, and it's on line 37. So it's letting me know it's right here. That is a syntax error. I am violating one of the rules of the language. Putting it back here and here, saving, copying it, putting in the right stuff. So again, what you'll notice if you look wherever that was, now again it is time. No, it should have been time. But now if I put it in like that and I check, everything's green. And again, green is good. All right, let me fix this in my actual file because it looks like I didn't. Oh, I didn't save. That's the problem. So file, save. There we go. A logic error, I would think at least, it's harder to make a logic error inside of HTML as opposed to other languages. But an example of a logic error, the syntax is correct, but the code is not what you intended it to be. It says these are harder to find. Most of us think that we are infallible to errors. I will always remember this years ago when I had a young lady come up to me and say, Mr. Scott, I'm having a problem with my code and I don't for the life of me know what it is. So I looked at it, I found it fairly quickly, but I just gave it a second and I said, are you sure it's in here someplace? She said, no, I don't see it. So I showed her and she goes, oh, wow, I didn't do that. Well, no one else did it. But she didn't realize she'd made a fairly simplistic error. All right. Now, as it says here, HTML is parsed permissively. So in other words, it tries to be as liberal, if you want to call it that, as possible. So they want us to debug this thing. I'm going to let you go ahead and do that. All right, but if you notice, well, here's one of the problems. Notice how this is all bolded. See that? So that means probably if we wanted to say like not closed properly, we didn't close the tag. So let's look. So there's our beginning strong tag. There's our beginning M tag. There's our ending M tag, but we don't ever end the strong tag here, as we should. Here is an unclosed attribute. All right. We shouldn't have that slash there. That's negating the slash we're putting here. So those are the problems. The paragraph and the list item have no closing tags. So where are those? There's a paragraph with no closing tag. There is a list item. In fact, none of these list items have ending list item tags. The first strong tag has no closing tag. The section is nested incorrectly. So strong, it should be strong, beginning strong, beginning M, end strong, instead of the way it is. The href attribute is missing a double quote. So there's a beginning double quote, but there's no ending double quote there. So if you do run this thing and you go in and you run it through the validator, it's going to find most of this stuff. It should make sense, right? There's also something called the DOM inspector that you can use. All right, well, what is that? Well, you can take your page. Let's bring it up here. So where is it? There it is. I can right mouse click and choose inspect and go through the DOM inspector in here. You can notice that whatever I highlight in here, so for instance, if I highlight where it says homepage, this will be highlighted right there when I take my mouse and put it over where it says homepage. If I want where it says click to see date and time, that's inside of here. Click to see. All right, if I put my mouse here, there it is. This is the Document Object Model, or DOM inspector, which we will use much more when we go in and start working with CSS. The validation I've already gone over with you. All right. And it is validator.w3.org. It is the W3C, and W3 is an acronym which stands for World Wide Web Consortium. It's kind of the unofficial, official governing body for all things HTML, CSS, and pretty much JavaScript as well. Okay. So they've got another example here where they ask you to go in and run it on here. Okay, so we could do this. We can go and grab all of this code that's right here. Okay, I'm going to grab this. I'm going to go over to here. All right, and it's going to look a little different with what I'm about to do. And that is, I'm going to go back up. Where is my code? well, this is going to be a little different for the way I'm going to do this, but let me grab everything up to the body tag right there. Copy it to the clipboard, and let's go and, why it's looking like that, but it is. There we go. I guess we do have it in here. So we've got, there's all of our head stuff. There's our body stuff. So I'm going to remove everything that's in the body tag right now. Okay, everything. So notice we just got body, body. Then I'm going to go back to our example, and I'm going to grab all this code and copy it, and I'm going to put it in here. All right, there should be plenty of errors, but I'm going to click check. And you'll notice end tag li is implied, but there were open elements. So it's showing us there was no ending li tag, unclosed elements. So it's showing us we did not correctly close the strong tag, end tag that violates the nesting rules. So you'll notice that we've got, it looks like 7 errors in here. And as you go through and begin to fix them, so again, if I come through here and every single place I've got a beginning li tag, as an example, I now put in an ending li tag. All right, I don't know if that was all of them or not, but we'll find out. So if I go and run this again now, if I click check, now before I had 7 errors, well, it looks like I still do. It says ending li tag seen, but there were open elements. So there still is something in here it doesn't like. So this is all a big game, so to speak, of going in and setting up and fixing things that are wrong. So there's an li and an li and li. Well, remember, this was set up incorrectly here. So we'll put that strong tag over here. We'll come through and we've got the beginning double quote, but we don't have an ending double quote here. We'll put that in. So did we make it better? I don't know. I would sure hope so. Let's click check. And we're down to now to 5 errors. Still doesn't like some of our LIs. Still doesn't like the strong where it is. And there's a UL that's goofed up. So we just keep looking. Now, typically, I wouldn't debug that in here. All right, so LI, 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 M, strong, M, strong, LI, LI. Telling us in line 32 here, it doesn't like this. Oh, because, oh. You should always go from the top down when you're working on this. It says LI seen, but there were open elements. Strong. There's no ending strong tag here. So what do? We just keep working our way through this. So there's the beginning strong. And let's put in an ending strong. And check. Whoops, I don't want to save it. Check. Now it says everything is okay. So working from the top down will oftentimes fix your errors in the most expeditious way possible. All right. So I've shown you the validation. And again, they've got their own example in here, which is totally fine. Interpreting the error messages. Again, we already looked at adding that lang attribute. Ending li tags we looked at. Closing your tags in the right order. When you're nesting tags, we looked at that as well. So that's pretty much it. So what I'm going to go through next then, I'm going to skip this marking up a letter. You can go through that on your own if you want. To me, it's just it's an exercise in futility. But I'm going to look at this structuring a page of content. So what they want you to do is grab this zip file, that's called assets.zip, and I'm going to show it in the folder, and I'm going to right now, I'm going to drag it over to my desktop and extract it so I can see what it currently looks like. So assets, okay, there's my index file. So it currently looks like this. Not much to it as far as the way that it's set up, but I am going to look at one thing first, and that is, let me bring this over. Okay, so we've got assets. And it looks like, at least, we don't have any CSS in here, so it's not going to look very nice. But in this particular example that we're about to run through, it says structuring a page of web content for laying it out for using CSS is very important. So we're getting ready to use the CSS. We want it to look like this. It does not currently. So we'll work on that after we finish this exercise. So I'll be back with that in just a couple moments.